Welcome to this in depth lesson on the theory of production and the firm. Together, we'll explore the fundamental concepts that govern the functioning of economic activities and the decisions companies must make on a daily basis. This journey will provide you with a solid foundation for understanding the world of economics and business management. The theory of production and the firm is a fundamental pillar of economics. It helps us understand how firms operate and how resources are transformed into goods and services. It analyzes the relationships between the inputs used and the outputs produced. This theory provides a lens through which to observe and interpret market dynamics. It is essential for students, entrepreneurs, and anyone seeking a deeper understanding of economic processes. It allows us to understand not only what is produced, but also how and why. The primary objective of almost all businesses in a market economy is profit maximization. This pursuit of maximum profit guides many of a company's strategic and operational decisions. Understanding this logic is crucial to deciphering corporate behavior. Profit maximization is not only a motivation, but also a mechanism for allocating resources. Firms that produce efficiently and meet market demand tend to prosper. This process contributes to overall economic growth. At the heart of every production process is the use of various factors. These essential elements are the resources that companies combine to create goods and services. Their proper management is crucial for efficiency and productivity. The quantity and quality of the factors used determine the amount of output that can be produced. A clear understanding of these factors is therefore essential to any economic analysis. They are the building blocks of every productive activity. The traditional classification of factors of production includes four main categories. These categories provide a conceptual framework for analyzing resources. Each factor has distinct characteristics and economic implications. The first factor is the earth. This term encompasses all the natural resources available on our planet. It's not limited to physical soil, but includes much more: agricultural land, mineral deposits, and forests. Water, solar energy, and raw materials like oil and gas also fall into this category. They are finite resources, and their availability significantly influences production. The second factor is labor. This represents the human effort expended in the production process. It is the physical and mental energy that people dedicate to the creation of goods and services. Labor includes the physical effort of factory workers and the intellectual activity of engineers and managers. It is a fundamental resource, and its productivity depends on education, training, and working conditions. The quality of labor is crucial to innovation and efficiency. The third factor is capital. Capital indices in economics refers to all the durable goods used in production. It's not money itself, but the tools and infrastructure that facilitate the creation of other goods. Examples of capital include industrial machinery, company buildings, and technological equipment. Infrastructure such as roads and communication networks also fall under this definition. Capital increases the productive capacity of labor. Finally, a fourth factor that is often added, especially in a more modern vision, is entrepreneurship, or as it is sometimes simplified, nature in a broader sense. In this sense, nature encompasses not only natural resources but also the environment as a productive context. However, it is more common to consider entrepreneurship as the factor that combines the other three. The entrepreneur is the person who organizes, manages, and assumes the risks of economic activity. He or she is the dynamic element that transforms ideas into productive realities. The entrepreneur introduces innovations, identifies new opportunities, and manages market uncertainty. Their vision and coordination are crucial to a business's success. Without this organizational factor, land, labor, and capital would remain idle or inefficient. These factors of production do not operate in isolation but in close interaction. Their optimal combination is what allows the company to achieve its objectives. Their scarcity or abundance influences production strategies. Production costs are the expenses incurred by businesses for the use of production factors. Understanding and managing these costs is vital to the survival and success of any business. They determine the profitability of the business. These costs are crucial to business decisions, from pricing to production planning. Accurate cost analysis allows a company to identify areas of inefficiency and optimize its operations. They are the heart of financial management. Production costs can be classified into several categories. The main ones are fixed costs, variable costs, and total costs. This distinction is fundamental for short and long term economic analysis. Fixed costs are those expenses that do not vary with the level of production. Regardless of the quantity of goods or services produced, these costs remain constant. They must be incurred even if production is zero. Typical examples of fixed costs include rent for business premises and salaries for managers or administrative staff. Depreciation of machinery and insurance policies also fall into this category. They represent a constant burden for the business. Variable costs, on the other hand, are expenses that change based on the quantity produced. They increase as production increases and decrease as production decreases. They are directly proportional to the volume of activity. Typical examples of variable costs are the cost of raw materials used and the wages of production workers. The costs of energy consumed directly in production also fall under this category. These costs are flexible and volume dependent. Total cost is simply the sum of fixed costs and variable costs. It represents the overall outlay a company must make to produce a given quantity of output. It is the overall indicator of production expenditure. Average cost is another key measure calculated by dividing the total cost by the quantity produced. This value indicates the cost per unit of product. It is a key parameter for evaluating efficiency and competitiveness. Average cost is particularly useful for pricing decisions and profitability analysis. It helps understand whether production is profitable at a given output level. Minimizing average cost is often a corporate objective. Another related and crucially important concept is marginal cost. This is the additional cost incurred to produce an extra unit of output. It is a dynamic indicator that reflects the impact of a single unit increase in production on total costs. Marginal cost is crucial for short-term production decisions. A firm evaluates whether to produce an additional unit by comparing marginal cost with marginal revenue. This leads us directly to the concept of profit maximization. The relationship between fixed cost, variable cost, total cost, and marginal cost is dynamic. Their combined analysis allows the company to make strategic decisions. Careful cost management is the key to economic sustainability. Supply is a key concept in economics and represents the quantity of a good or service that companies are willing to produce and sell. This availability depends on a given price. It is a function of the market price. Supply reflects the ability and willingness of companies to bring products to market. It's not simply what is produced, but what is offered for sale. Various conditions influence this availability. The law of supply is a fundamental principle that describes the relationship between price and quantity supplied. It states that, all other things being equal, the quantity supplied of a good or service increases as its price increases. Producers are incentivized to produce more when prices are high. This means that a higher price makes production more profitable for the firm. Consequently, firms will be willing to devote more resources to the production of that good. It's a market based incentive mechanism. Conversely, if the price of a good decreases, supply tends to decrease. Lower profitability can push firms to reduce production or shift resources to other, more profitable activities. This reaction is logical for profit maximization. The supply curve is the graphical representation of this price-quantity relationship. On a graph, price is usually on the vertical axis and quantity supplied on the horizontal axis. The curve clearly illustrates the behavior of producers. The distinctive feature of the supply curve is that it exhibits a positive slope. This means that the curve rises from left to right. This directly reflects the law of supply. As the price increases, the quantity supplied increases. Besides price, other factors can influence the supply of a good or service. These include production costs, technology, the number of producers, and future expectations. These factors cause shifts in the entire supply curve. For example, a technological improvement that reduces production costs will shift the supply curve to the right. This means that at any given price, firms will be able and willing to supply a greater quantity. Technology makes production more efficient. Similarly, an increase in raw material costs will shift the supply curve to the left. At any given price, firms will be willing to supply less. Production becomes less profitable and therefore less attractive. Understanding the supply curve is essential to analyzing market equilibrium. Together with the demand curve, it determines the equilibrium price and quantity. These concepts are interconnected in the functioning of the market. As mentioned, the primary objective of a company in a competitive market environment is profit maximization. This principle guides every strategic and operational decision. All corporate actions converge toward this goal. Profit is defined as the difference between total revenue and total costs. To calculate total revenue, multiply the price by the quantity sold. It is a measure of a company's financial performance. A positive profit indicates that the company is generating more revenue than it spends. A negative profit or loss means the opposite. Maximizing profit is what enables long-term growth and sustainability. The profit maximization condition is a crucial concept in microeconomics. The firm seeks the level of production at which profit is maximized. This optimal point is not always evident without careful analysis. Profit maximization occurs when marginal revenue equals marginal cost. This is a fundamental principle that determines the ideal quantity of output to produce. Every firm aims to achieve this equilibrium. Marginal revenue is the additional revenue generated by selling an additional unit of product. It indicates how much the company earns for each additional unit it sells. It is a key indicator for incremental production decisions. Marginal cost, as we've already seen, is the additional cost incurred to produce an additional unit. It represents the extra outlay required to increase production by a single unit. It's the cost of expansion. When marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost, producing an additional unit increases total profit. The firm should continue to expand production. There is still room to increase profits. When marginal cost is greater than marginal revenue, producing an additional unit would reduce total profit. The firm should reduce production. That extra unit is no longer profitable. Therefore, the point where marginal revenue MR equals marginal cost MC represents the optimal equilibrium. At this point, the firm has exploited all opportunities to increase profit. Any deviation from this level would lead to lower profit. The importance of profit analysis goes far beyond simple accounting. It is fundamental to investment decisions, guiding companies in choosing which projects to pursue. An accurate analysis of potential profit is the foundation of every investment. It is also essential for short and long term production planning. The company must estimate future costs and revenues to determine how much to produce. This process ensures that resources are allocated efficiently. Finally, profit analysis is crucial to the very survival of a company in the market. Companies that fail to generate sufficient profits are doomed to fail. Profitability is the engine that fuels innovation and growth. Understanding how businesses maximize profits is therefore essential for anyone wishing to operate in economic contexts. It provides the tools to analyze the competitiveness and sustainability of production activities. It is the intrinsic logic of the market economic system. This concise analysis of the theory of production and the firm has provided the foundation for a deeper understanding. From the definition of production factors to cost management to profit maximization, each concept is interconnected. I hope this overview has been useful for your studies in business.